Economics of education. In this session, we are going to discuss nearly 85 to 90 questions on economics of education, and we will discuss without any explanations. The first question of this series is, what is the main purpose of conducting cost analysis in education? Option: to increase the number of educational institutions, to ensure efficiency in the allocation of resources, to improve student enrollment rates, to reduce teacher salaries. Answer of this question is option B, that is to ensure efficiency in the allocation of resources. Next question: what is the primary difference between expenditure and cost in education? Option: expenditure is for private institution while cost is for public institution. Expenditure refers to actual spending, while cost refers to the amount of money spent to acquire or impart education. Expenditure includes only salaries, while cost includes all expenses. Expenditure is related to buildings, while cost related to teaching material. Answer of this question is option B, that is expenditure refers to actual spending, while cost refers to the amount of money spent to acquire or impart education. Next question: which of the following best describes cost per unit, cost per student? And option of this question: cost per student enrolled, cost per student actually attend school, cost per student successfully completing a course, all of the above. Answer of this question is option D, that is all of the above. What does cost efficiency in education refer to? Option: maximizing outputs while minimizing costs, increasing the number of students, reducing teacher workload, expanding student infrastructure. Answer of this question is option A, that is maximizing outputs while minimizing cost. Next, which term describes the comparison of cost and benefit in educational projects? Option: cost effectiveness, cost efficiency, cost benefit analysis, cost expenditure analysis. Answer of this question is cost benefit analysis. Next, which of the following is a major determinant of educational cost? Option: number of classrooms, teacher salaries, quality of educational materials, number of students in each class. Answer of this question is option B, that is teacher salaries. Next, what is the difference between capital expenditure and recurring expenditure in education? Option: capital expenditure is one time, while recurring expenditure happens regularly. Capital expenditure is related to salaries, while recurring expenditure is for infrastructure. Recurring expenditure is one time, while capital expenditure happens regularly. Both are the same. Answer of this question is option A, that is capital expenditure is one time, while recurring expenditure happens regularly. Next, what does the term cost effectiveness in education refers to? Option: achieving desired outcomes with the least expenditure, increasing the number of students, reducing teacher salaries, enhancing the quality of school buildings. Answer of this question is option A, that is achieving desired outcomes with the least expenditure. Next, which cost component includes salaries, maintenance, and equipment? Options: cost per school, cost per teacher, cost per student, capital cost. Answer of this question is option C, that is cost per student. Answer of this next question: why is it important to use constant prices when calculating educational cost. Option to adjust for inflation and compare cost over time, to increase the total expenditure, to decrease the number of students, to adjust teacher salaries. Answer of this question is option A, that is to adjust for inflation and compare cost over time. Next, which of the following is not a type of educational cost? Option cost related to students, cost related to teachers, cost related to buildings and equipment, cost related to government subsidies. Answer of this question is option D, that is cost related to government subsidies. Next, what is an example of recurring expenditure in education? Option building new classrooms, purchasing new school buses, paying teacher salaries, installing new computers. Answer of this question is option C, that is paying teacher salaries. Next, what is the term for cost associated with the acquisition of educational material such as books and stationery? Option capital cost, non-salary cost, recurring cost, administrative cost. Answer of this question is option B, that is non-salary cost. Next, which of the following factors does not typically influence educational cost? Option teacher salaries, number of students, quality of educational materials, government subsidies. Answer of this question is option D, that is government subsidies. Next, in, in cost analysis, what does unit cost refer to? Option cost per student, cost per teacher, cost per school, all of the above. Answer of this question is option D, that is all of above. Next, what is the purpose of cost benefit analysis in educational projects? Option to determine the amount of funding needed, to assess the financial and educational impacts of the project, to calculate teacher salaries, to increase student enrollment. Answer of this question is option B, that is to assess the financial and educational impacts of the project. Next, which approach focuses on comparing the cost of educational programs with the result achieved? Option cost effectiveness, cost efficiency, cost benefit analysis, capital build budgeting. Answer of this question is option A, that is cost effectiveness. Next, what does cost per unit typically represent in educational finance? Option cost per student, cost per course, cost per program, cost per school. Answer of this question is option A, that is cost per student. Next, which of the following is an example of a capital cost in education? Option teacher salaries, classroom furniture, utility bills, textbooks. Answer of this question is option B, that is classroom furniture. Next, which term is used for the cost involved in maintaining and operating educational institution? Option capital expenditure, operational expenditure, variable cost, fixed cost. Answer of this question is option B, that is operational expenditure. Next, what is typical typically included in the term educational expenditure? Option only capital cost, only recurring cost, both capital and recurring cost, none of the above. Answer of this question is option C, that is both capital and recurring costs. Next, what does cost efficiency measure in the context of educational programs? Option: the effectiveness of educational outcomes relative to the expenditure, the efficiency in use resources to achieve educational goal, the cost per unit of educational material, the cost amount spent on education. Answer of this question is option B, that is the efficiency in using resources to achieve educational goals. Next, which of the following is an example of indirect cost in education? Option: salaries of teachers, cost of textbooks, utility bills, maintenance of school building. Answer of this question is utility bills. Next, what does the term marginal cost refer to in educational finance? Option: the cost of expanding educational services to one additional student, the, the total cost of educational programs, the cost of purchasing educational material, the cost of building new school. Answer of this question is option A, that is the cost of expanding educational services to one additional student. Next, which factor is not typically considered in a cost benefit analysis of educational project? Options: educational outcomes, student demographics, cost of implementation, return on investment. Answer of this question is option B, that is student demographics. Next, what is the purpose of analyzing the cost of educational input? Option: to determine the quality of educational material, to assess the efficiency of resource allocation, to increase student enrollment, to evaluate teacher performance. Answer of this question is option B, that is to assess the efficiency of resource allocation. Next, which cost type includes expenses related to facilities and equipment in education? Option: recurring cost, capital cost, variable cost, fixed cost. Answer of this question is capital cost. Next, which approach to is used to measure the impact of educational expenditure on student outcomes? Option of this question is cost effectiveness analysis, cost benefit analysis, cost efficiency analysis, budget analysis. Answer of this question is option A, that is cost effectiveness analysis. Next, what is the significance of cost per student in educational finance? Options: it provides a measure of total expenditure on education per student. It indicates the cost of administrative function per student. It shows the cost of textbooks per student. It represents the cost of school facilities per student. Answer of this question is option A, that is it provides a measure of total expenditure on education per student. Next, which term is used to describe the overall financial planning and management of educational resources? Option: educational budgeting, financial analysis, resource allocation, cost management. Answer of this question is option A, that is educational budgeting. What does operational expenditure include in the next educational institution? Option: cost of infrastructure development, cost to day-to-day operation such as salaries and utilities, cost of new educational programs, cost of long-term investment. Answer of this question is option B, that is cost of day-to-day operation such as salaries and utilities. Next, which of the following is an example of a fixed cost in education? Option: classroom supplies, teacher salaries, utility bills, students transport. Answer of this question is teacher salaries. Next, what is the purpose of conducting a cost effectiveness analysis in education. Options: to measure the cost in relation to effectiveness of educational programs, to compare cost across different schools, to analyze teacher performance, to evaluate student demographics. Answer of this question is option A, that is to measure the cost in relation to the effectiveness of educational programs. Next, which term describes cost that vary with level of educational services provided? Option: fixed cost, variable cost, capital cost, administrative cost. Answer of this question is option B, that is variable cost. Next, what is the primary goal of financial planning in education? Options: to maximize student enrollment, to ensure adequate funding and efficient use of resources, to increase teacher salaries, to build new school facilities. Answer of this question is to ensure adequate funds and efficient use of resources. Next, what does cost benefit ratio measure in educational finance? Option: the relationship between total cost and total benefit of an educational project, the ratio of administrative cost to teaching cost, the cost of educational materials compared to their benefits, the amount spent on student service compared to the outcomes. Answer of this question is option A, that is the relationship between total cost and total benefit of an educational project. Next, which of the following is an example of a direct cost in education? Options: teacher salaries, maintenance of schools facilities, utility bills, administrative staff salaries. Answer of this question is option A, that is teacher salaries. Next, which analysis method helps in assessing the value of educational outcomes relative to the resource used? Option: cost effectiveness analysis, cost benefit analysis, cost efficiency analysis, budgetary analysis. Answer of this question is cost effectiveness analysis. Next, what is the primary focus of capital budgeting in educational institution? Option: managing day-to-day operational cost, planning and allocating resources for long-term investment, determining teacher salaries, analyzing student enrollment patterns. Answer of this question is option B, that is planning and allocating resources for long-term investment. Next, which term refers to the evaluation of financial performance against expected outcome in education? Option: financial reporting, budget analysis, performance measurement, cost analysis. Answer of this question is option C, that is performance measurement. What is the main aim of educational investment? Option: increasing profits, developing human resources, building infrastructure, rising taxes. Answer of this question is option B, that is developing human resources. Next, which of the following is not a distinguishing feature of human capital compared to physical capital? Option: no two units are homogeneous, require longer gestation period, depreciates at a fixed rate, individual and capital are inseparable. Answer of this question is depreciate at a fixed rate. Next, what is the quantitative dimension of human capital? Option: skills and knowledge, number of workers and hour worked, productivity levels, creativity and innovation. Answer of this question is option B, that is number of workers and hours worked. Next, which of the following is not a type of decision making in education or investment? Option: individual decision, institutional decisions, collective decisions, corporate decisions. Answer of this question is option D, that is corporate decision. Next, what is the term for the relationship between input and output in education? Options: education function, learning curve, production function, cost function. Answer of this question is option C, that is production function. Next, which of the following is not an input in the education production function? Options: class size, teacher qualifications, student motivation, instructional expenditure. Answer of this question is option C, that is student motivation. Next, which of the following is not an indicator of stock of human capital? Options: level of educational attainment, number of persons in high level occupations, GDP per capital, both A and B. Answer of this question is option C, that is GDP per capital. Next, which of the following is not a type of resource in education? Option: human resources, physical infrastructure, financial resources, natural resources. Answer of this question is option D, that is natural resources. Next, which of the following is not a factor affecting educational wastage? Option: socioeconomic background, parental education, institutional environment, students' intelligence quotient. Answer of this question is option D, that is students' intelligence quotient. Next, what is the term for the extra earning of educating worker reflecting their higher contribution to output? Options: education premium, skill bonus, knowledge dividend, productivity differential. Answer of this question is option D, that is productivity differential. Next, what is the term for relationship between educational inputs and outputs? Options: learning function, teaching process, production function, education equation. Answer of this question is option C, that is production function. Next, which of the following is not an input in the education production function? Option: class size, teacher qualifications, students' family income, instructional expenditure. Answer of this question is option C, that is student family income. Next, which of the following is not a characteristic of human capital? Options: cannot be sold or given anyway, away, must be employed in person, duration of value cannot exceed lifespan, can be easily transferred between individuals. Answer of this question is option D, that is can be easily transferred between individuals. Next, what is the term for the process of acquiring new knowledge, skill, and experience by workforce? Options: education, training, human capital formation, skill development. Answer of this question is option C, that is human capital formation. Next, which of the following is not a determinant of human capital? Options: education, health services, housing, political affiliation. Answer of this question is option D, that is political affiliation. Next, which of the following is not a type of resource in education? Options: human resources, physical infrastructure, financial resources, intellectual property. Answer of this question is option D, that is intellectual property. Next, what is the main purpose of education? Options: by increasing economic productivity, to enable men to understand better the world in which they live, to prepare students for specific jobs, to promote technological advancement. Answer of this question is option B, that is to enable men to understand better the world in which they live. Next, what term does the author use for education that increases productive capacity? Option: consumption education, investment education, production education, economic education. Answer of this question is option B, that is investment education. Next, which type of education does the author argue is often neglected but has great potential for improving productivity? Options: early childhood education, university education, adult education, secondary education. Answer of this question is option C, that is adult education. Next, who presented a formal model of education as an investment good that augmented the stock of human capital? Option: Lewis, Baker and Scotch, Barrow and Locus. Answer of this question is option B, that is Baker and Scotch. What approach attempts to measure the rate of return to education while controlling for other variables that might influence earning? Options: New Growth Theory, Human Development Index, Mean Syrian Approach, Endogenous Growth Model. Answer of this question is option C, that is Manchurian approach. Next, who is credited with initiating the study of education important in development economics? Option: Baker, Scotch, Lewis, Barrow. Answer of this question is Lewis. Next, what index has become the industry standard for discussing non-GDP contribution to economic development? Options: Gini coefficient, Human Development Index, Education Index, Economic Complexity Index. Answer of this question is Human Development Index. What phenomena does exist among graduates in India? Options: overqualification, underemployment, both A and B, neither A nor B. Answer of this question is option C, that is both A and both A and B. Next, in Lucas model, how does the presence of high productivity workers affect others? Option: it has no effect, it decreases their productivity, it increases their productivity through a learning by watching mechanism, it only affect workers in the same industry. Answer of this question is option C, that is it increases their productivity through a learning by watching mechanism. Next, in the Indian context, what is the relationship between economic growth and economic development? They are synonymous. Economic growth is sufficient for economic development. Economic growth is necessary but not sufficient for economic development. There is no relationship between two. Option C, that is economic growth is necessary but not sufficient for economic development, is the correct answer. Next, what issue does the government invest in educating backward castes? Option: it has been highly successful. It has had little economic benefit due to inability to deliver superior jobs. It has only benefited urban areas. It has increased caste disparities. Answer of this question is option B, that is it has had little economic benefit due to inability to deliver superior jobs. Next, what necessary alongside formal education initiative to raise the social standing of subordinate groups? Option: more focus on primary education, increased urbanization, substantial redistribution in material assets, expansion of tertiary education. Answer of this question is option C, that is substantial redistribution in material assets. Next, what shape do the rates of return to education generally take in India? Option: linear, inverted, U-shaped, U-shaped, exponential. Answer of this question is inverted U-shaped. Next, for which level of education are the Rates of return generally highest in India. Answer of this option of this question is primary, secondary, tertiary, vocational. Answer of this question is option B, that is secondary. Next, what does the social rate of return for primary education compared to the private rate? Options, they are equal, the social rate is lower, the social may be higher due to externalities, the comparison is impossible to make. Option C, that is the social rate may be higher due to externalities, is the correct answer. Next, what potential risk does regarding the further expansion of higher education in India? Options, increased cost, lower quality, over education and unemployment, brain drain. Answer of this question is over education and unemployment. Next, what appears to be a large despite no apparent edge between private and social economic returns for women? Option, the cost of women's education, the development returns for enhancing female education, the dropout rate for female students, the wage gap between men and women. Answer of this question is option B, that is the developmental return from enhancing female education. Next, what does the Lucas model suggest about the relationship between accumulated human capital and a region's growth path? Option, there is no relationship. The growth path depends in part on the initial level of accumulated human capital. Human capital only affects short-term growth. Accumulated human capital hinder growth. Answer of this question is option B, that is the growth path depends in part of on the initial level of accumulated human capital. Next, what does the World Bank suggest about education in an open economy? Options, education has no impact in an open economy. Education has significant gains only in an open economy. Education is less important in an open economy. The impact of education is unchanged in an open versus closed economy. Answer of this question is option B, that is education has significant gain only in an open economy. Next, what is the indirect indirect exist between public spending on education and growth? Options, through increased exploitation, through improved technology, through private capital formation, through reduced inequalities. Answer of this question is option C, that is through private capital formation. Next, what is necessary alongside education initiative to improve the position of subordinate groups? Options, more vocational training, increased urbanization, redistribution of material assets, focus on tertiary education. Answer of this question is option C, that is redistribution of material assets. Next, what does the effectiveness of investing in education backward casts without changing in labor market policy? Options, it is highly effective, it is moderately effective, it is potentially counterproductive, it has no impact. Next, answer of this question, it is potentially counterproductive. Next, in which areas are the rate of return to education generally higher? Urban areas, rural areas, areas with high level of development, area with low level of development. Answer of this question is areas with low level of development. What phenomena does regarding graduate employment in education in India? Options, full employment, underemployment, and discussed unemployment, high paying jobs for all graduates, lack of graduate for available jobs. Answer of this question is option B, that is underemployment, and discussed unemployment. Next, what is the main risk associated with further expansion of higher education in India? Option: increased cost, lower quality of education, over education and under employment, brain drain. Answer of this question is option C, that is over education and under employment, unemployment. Sorry. Next, what does the effectiveness of government initiative in government investment in educating backward castes? Caste. Option: it has been highly effective. It has had little economic benefit. It has only benefited urban areas. It has increased caste disparities. Answer of this question is option B, that is, it has had little economic benefit.